Good evening, everybody. How are you? What are you up to? Have you had a good week so far? 2 days in? Good evening, Christine. How are you? How's it going? As usual, you get 10 minutes. Oh, let's put the birds on. And they said the birdie song then. That's a totally different type of music. 10 to 15 minutes to produce a rough drawing. As you can see, I've just done the outline of all the lines and the main leaves that we'll cover his legs up with, or most of his legs up with, and I can't work out where his back leg is. I think it should be more of an angle like that, but I don't know. We should also have more people joining us, but I don't know where they are yet. Let me stick my glasses on, and good. So no pressure for me then, eh, Chris? I love it when you all hate it, because then at least anything's a bonus. It's a nice one tonight, though. It's not as difficult, I don't think, as you would possibly believe. It would be more tricky or trickier in watercolours for certain. So it's good for acrylics. Acrylics and gouache. Oh god, my cushion's a bit lumpy. Ooh. Let's see if there's anybody on Discord then, because I can't see them on here. There should be. I reckon Sandra will be on there. No, nobody joining this evening on Discord. Well, that's all right. Good. You said how pleased you were with last week's drawing. That's brilliant news. Hopefully, it'll be one of your best paintings as well. Hello, Louise. Good. You like hedgehogs, don't you? Have you still got the hedgehogs in your garden? Oh, Nick's on. Oh, how weird. Good evening, Nick. I can hear the front door rattling. I'll be back in a minute. Good evening, Sandra. Well, no, I had to abandon because I thought I could hear the front door, but actually it's people living in the flat next door, above the nail bar. They're being a bit noisy, so I thought it was the front door. That's okay, Louise. You can watch and learn. How are you feeling, Nick? Better? Oh, that's good. So, those of you with arty crafty friends or children, youngish children, or creative children that aren't that young, or grandchildren, keep your eyes peeled tomorrow on the shop's Facebook page is all I'm going to say. I know. I'm using my own my palette from this afternoon's class, just because I don't want to waste a paper plate, and some of the colours are still a bit wet. We're going for more earthy colours today. Lots of them though. Definitely we need burnt sienna or burnt umber, yellow ochre, bit of lemon yellow, bit of ultramarine, bit of black and white, and possibly cadmium red if you're going to go autumnal or not. It's up to you. So this is my dirty palette from this morning. So I'm going to stick, I'm going to leave that cadmium yellow blob there and then put the other two yellows around it because they're the only two different ones. So it was a nice class this afternoon. What did I do? Oh, an elephant sunset thing. Lemon yellow, yellow ochre, burnt sienna. Yep, you should be yellow oxide. Is that in your set? No. Oh, okay. You'll just when I use yellow ochre, all you need to do is stick a bit of brown in your yellow in your warm yellow. Yeah, a bit of black. Yeah, and possibly cadmium red if you were going to do the ready leaves in the background, you know. But that is very much up to you. Yep. I thought there might be more of you joining this tonight because of to save listening to the PM speech at 8 o'clock. I already listened to it this afternoon. Yeah, we did it to Parliament this afternoon and the public tonight. So I know what it's all about. Alfie. Well, alright, so about 10 past. There's not a huge amount to draw. Again, it's just the rough shape or trace, whichever you've done. There's no judgmentalness here. We'll do a very quick out of focus background before we concentrate. I can't speak. I've already seen reports that panic buying has already begun. Which is ridiculous. No, it's not even the start of a lockdown, so I don't know why people are being silly with it, to be honest. Yep. It'll be the background that we start with this evening. So it'll be sort of like a mucky green. But we're going to do it. Do you know what? I think I was going to use the... Maybe I will use this brush, which is the, 3/4 of an inch. I'm presuming you've all drawn, all 4 of you this evening. Okay. So I'm not going to mix a thorough colour. So I'm going to go with a bit of lemon, a tiny bit of ochre or cad yellow, whichever sort of you got. You could shove a little bit of brown in there and a little bit of ultramarine. And maybe just a touch of white. But I'm not mixing it thoroughly because I'm just basically going to scribble my brush around. Maybe add a bit more blue or even a bit of brown in here if I feel like it. It's a good way of just getting a nondescript background because it's actually quite dark up that corner, isn't it? Maybe I will go with a bit of brown in there as well. Oh, how exciting. How will I contain myself this evening? I don't know. Maybe I will go a bit more blue and brown. Oh, wow, my word. There's basically yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and ultramarine. Because look how pale our little hedgehog is against that background. He's really standing out, isn't he? So again, if we make him... So this is a big flat brush, but I'm just sort of twisting it. It's a good way of getting things done quickly. Sort of impressionist, but we're not using impressionist brush strokes. I won't launch into an art history lecture. I've done lots of those this week and last week. Oh, so I've got sort of an army green. No, oh gosh, no, we don't want it mixed well. Yeah, we've definitely got... I've got a bit of khaki on the on my mix now. So if you look at the screen, you'll see the khaki. Good. Yeah, I mean, you don't need tons of water with acrylics, but you do need some. You use it a bit more like an oil. Yeah, it is sort of hit or miss, really. Yeah, I've gone round the hedgehog. I mean, we are going to paint him in, but it's better to have a background in situ, because at least that way the hedgehog will be in front of the background rather than the background being in front of the hedgehog. I'm going to go a bit burnt sienna, ultramarine. I'm going to go a little bit darker with my sludgy green to go underneath our little hedgehog. Might as well shove it all in while we can. I'm happy to announce that the new restrictions don't affect my business at all because we've already been doing all of them anyway. So I'm fine about that. It's good. Well, it's that everybody now in retail and hospitality has to wear masks. So if you're working in a shop or working in a cafe, you have to wear a mask. No, I know. I mean, Jackie and I've insisted that we wear them because I don't want my customers to do something that I wouldn't expect. You know, I can't expect my customers to do rather something that I won't do myself. And I think it's important to make everybody feel as safe as possible. So I don't actually see an issue with that. There are a lot of people in uproar about it, of course. just they do. Yeah, there's no enforcement of any teaching staff needing to wear masks or compulsory stuff, so nothing at all. But you can't go home and have more than 5 people, 6 people. No, I know. I mean, I have seen the science behind it, and apparently there is a higher risk. Apparently, scientifically, they're seeing there is a greater risk of transmission in homes rather than in workplaces and what have you. But I still don't get it. Yeah. I know. I've just tried to. I'm trying to paint around the leaves and things, but it's good to just shove it in. But I do think whatever anybody thinks about what the government have said, you know, I'm not a massive government lover. However, I think we just have to do as we're told on this, because otherwise it's never going to go away. The more we keep rebelling and the more people keep refusing, it's best just to shut up and do it for 2 weeks, and then we'll get our freedom back. I mean, they're saying it's going to probably last for 6 months, but who knows? But we just need to get on with it. I mean, you know, 80 years ago, people were having to paint black on their headlights with a tiny hole. They were having to buy blackout curtains, build Anderson shelters, and you know, all of this kind of business. If all we got to do is wear a little mask, and yeah, if we just got to keep our distance and wear a mask, then I'm all for it. Just to get it gone away. Because I'm getting fed up of. I can't make any plans for the Art Society for next year because I don't even know if there will be one. So I'm effectively going to have to cancel the Art Society for next year because it's too. I don't want to keep booking speakers to then cancel them. So I'm not going to. I'm probably not going to book Art Fest next year because I don't want to spend 6 months organising something for it to be cancelled. And I don't want the hassle, to be honest. I'm quite enjoying not having all of the stresses of the planning and all of this kind of thing. So I'm happy. Oh, I mean, it's still unknown, and I think is it Dr. Fauci in America was saying that he doesn't think normality will begin to resume until 2022. I mean, I know we shouldn't be talking about COVID. This is sort of a relaxing class, but it is a sort of topical, hot subject this evening. Now, clearly I've painted over the hedgehog, and you can see how the camera has got scared about all the darks, where it's bleached out all my pencil lines that you can see, but it's only short term. I'm not actually going to do... Oh, there's my microphone wire. Where's that come from? I'm not actually going to do any more to that background. I'll do more in the foreground, but that will be in front of the hedgehog, so we're all right. And I know, Louise and Christine, that you've been really looking forward to this. So I don't want to disappoint you. Oh, hang on. I'll find my picture out that we did this afternoon, so you can have a look. And it'll explain why there's all the pink and purple on my palette. Ooh. I'm going to have to stop doing that. I've noticed I'm doing that all the time. Every time I get up or sit down, I've started making old people noises. There we go. That's what we did this afternoon. Nice little elephant at sunset with a bit of reflection. No offence to older people, by the way, but I have it's like ooh, ah, ee, ooh. Every time I bend down, it'll pick up, and I'm not actually in any pain at all. I don't know why I do it. I'm not even aching. I'm just doing it. That was acrylics, yes. Oh, you'll like. You know, I've been painting those ceramic gnomes, Nick. You'll like the one I've done recently. It came to me in a flash of inspiration last night. This is Noma Simpson. Yeah, I have shown it. No, no, Noma Simpson. I don't know why I did it. I just felt like it. Right. So that needs to dry, although it's practically dry already. It's a good way of doing a very mottled background, isn't it? Of if you're not sure what to do, kind of background, out of focus. Because if we started painting leaves and stuff in that background, we would need a 6 hour class, not a 2 hour class. But also, it would be, oh God, I got my dad's hands. Um, it would be giving too much detail to the background. And that means the foreground would either need more detail, at least the same amount, or more detail. And to be honest, we're not going to get that level of detail in a 2 hour class, so it's best to just leave it nondescript. And then we can work on our hedgehog. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be an animal. I mean, you could do it. I tell you what's a really good, useful, nondescript background colour is burnt sienna and cerulean and white. Because it gives a sort of, like the old school photograph camera backdrop kind of thing. It gives that sort of, and it seems to go with nearly every animal and every skin tone. So if you're really stuck for a background, mix burnt sienna white and cerulean together in acrylics or oils. In watercolors it works, but you don't need the white, you just need the water, and it's a really useful not sure what I'm doing background. Oh, you can, Nick. Well, I've gone a bit soft with it, but there you go. Look how rubbish that looks. You'll see it in about an hour. It's fairly thin paint though. I haven't gone in pasto just yet. It's just scrubby, I suppose you could call it. But I'm happy. We just need it to dry enough so we can block in the dark tones of the little hedgehog. Um, but yeah, I think this is doable. Now we've not got a bookshop in Banbury. I am buying online books, but I go to Hive. Have you heard of Hive? Hive.co.uk, and what it is a way to support your high street. So they've got loads and loads of books that you can buy, but then you choose an independent bookshop nearby to give a percentage of that sale to. So I did one order a couple of about a month ago, and I did it to Jaffa and Neil in Chippy, and then today I ordered a book and I gave a percentage to the Coles in Bicester. Um, so it's not like Amazon and it's not like Waterstones. This is sort of, it helps independent bookshops all over the country. So I like it because our bookshop because I would still support Books and Ink even though they've moved 60 miles away or whatever, but they haven't fully reopened yet because one came down with COVID and is still recovering, Carl, and so Sam's by herself and she's still sort of up here in one of the villages, so they've had to sort of separate. What was that noise? Be back in a second. It must be the flat next door. I think they're doing some sort of gymnastics. Jaffa cake. Oh, good knows the amount of noise that they're making. It's ridiculous. Right, so that's dry enough for me to block in the hedgehog. It's going to be two tones. It shouldn't be. It should technically be all one, but I want to make some sort of differentiation. So for where the spikes are, I'm going to do a bit of ultramarine and burnt sienna just to make a dark brown. If you've got a burnt umber, just use burnt umber. Burnt sienna's the reddy brown one. Burnt umber's the more of a chocolate brown. Or a boot polish brown. Oh, that's burnt sienna. So you'll need a bit of ultramarine or black in yours, Sandra. Doesn't matter which one. Basically, yeah. Because this is the undercolour for the spikes. We're trying to... What I like to do in acrylics is I like to block in colour. Because at least then I feel like I've actually done something. And... It also fills up the canvas quite quickly, which is good. Because we'll basically just put the paler spikes on top of this. The darker you go, the better, to be honest, for that. Because I don't think I've gone dark enough. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Dark chocolate colour. Oh, the flapjack I made is really tasty, by the way. I had a bit of that last night instead of the rest of the apple pie. I may well have the rest of the apple pie this evening. But I haven't made any more custard. But I can... No, I have no ice cream. I have a very tiny tabletop freezer. And during lockdown, I decided to make good use of it because my mum... One of the last things my mother said to Jackie was, "Oh, I do worry about Barry. He doesn't use his freezer properly." So yeah, apparently I don't use my freezer properly, and actually she's right. I never do. But over lockdown, I made a conscious effort to use my freezer properly. I'm just going to use a little bit of black right on the underside of the body. So I made about 9 ready meals just in case there was ever a second lockdown, or a little black on his snout right around his nose, going up to his eye. Remember that badger problem we had last week? The badger effect. We're sort of going to create it here again now, just a little. So this is just black, but I haven't cleaned my brush inside his ears. So yeah, I made a lot of ready meals which took up half the freezer. I've got a bit of meat that I've frozen that I haven't used. But no, I don't have ice cream because, and I'll tell you why, Nick. I'm a pig. And yeah, I can't have. It's like a pack of biscuits or these family-sized sharing bag of Maltesers, or like anybody shares those. They're just like a one sitting thing. And the other problem is that I might sit down, but I've eaten half of it before I watch the film that I want to watch, and then I'm hungry. So no, I'm terrible. I'm really bad. And I do feel ashamed of myself afterwards for 5 minutes, and then I do it again. No, and then I do it again. You see, there's a box of Jaffa cakes here that Jackie bought, but I know this is for tomorrow and for the rest of the week, so I I can't. And I've already had the 3 party rings that were left over from this morning. She just keeps me in biscuits, Jackie does, bless her. Because I'm terrible when I'm hungry. And I do get hungry a lot. I get so grumpy if I'm hungry. So yeah, biscuits is the thing for me. But yeah, if I have like a Haagen-Dazs or anything, I just eat it, and then I feel sick, and then I go, I wish I've saved it, and then I buy another one, and then I eat that. So no ice cream, and I haven't got an ice cream maker. I got technically, I suppose you can out of full fat milk and stuff, can't you? But I don't know how to do that. I'm not. I can make custard, and that's as far as my and apple pie and pastry, but I can't make ice cream. However, what I have found is that if I want the feel of ice cream, what I do is I get a full, because I have full fat milk. I have a nice glass of full fat milk, and I drop some vanilla essence in, and it tastes like vanilla ice cream that's melted. So I have a nice vanilla-y milk drink, which makes me feel like I've had ice cream, but obviously wouldn't be good poured over an apple pie. Ooh. Well, that sounds nice. I've got bananas, but I haven't got any yogurt. Because I'm also a bit annoying because I try to be healthy, but there are certain things in the fridge that I just forget I own, and then I have to be in a severe mood for it to eat it. So I buy it on a whim when I'm in the mood, but then don't eat it necessarily, and then forget about it, and then I wonder what the smell is, and then I go, oh, that was it because I hit it right at the back. Anyway, you can. Um, don't don't upset him. He was born that way, Nick, with a slightly larger right ear. Um, you know, it's because it's on its side. We haven't done that bit yet. I'm just filling in the inside, but that's going to be painted over almost all of it. So I'm going to go with a bit of yellow ochre and a bit of burnt sienna here, and then I'm going to paint over the ear that is too big to appease some people. Honestly. Do you know what I was toying with the idea because I saw a tutorial by another arty person, and he'd got the same set. Oh, I've painted over where his eye is. He'd got the same setup as me, but what he'd got in the top left hand corner was a camera on him, so you could see his face, and I thought, well, maybe that would be nice for people to see my face. But then I thought, you'd get my Laurel and Hardy looks to the camera, or the Frankie Howard looks to the camera when I'm a bit disgusted, yes, or you'll see me rolling my eyes, and I don't think that would be really good. It might make me feel look. It might make me get professional if I did. I don't know, but we don't want me to be professional, and it would mean I. Yes, you'd get a delayed reaction. Oh dear, yeah. I think we'll give it a miss for now. I'd need a separate camera. I have got an old a webcam at home that I don't really use. Because I ordered two for doing my live streams. That's yellow ochre and burnt sienna, but you'll need cadmium yellow and burnt sienna. Well, that's fine. That's even better. So burnt umber with cadmium yellow should give it you. So I've gone for the badger look at the moment. Get the badger look. Does that here please you a little bit more? Okay. Not that I'm bothered anyway, to be honest, but you know. Why have you got green? In cadmium yellow or yellow ochre? Add a bit add. Okay, if it's gone green. Right, this is a really interesting thing. So Nick, for the benefit of Facebook folk, he's mixed a colour, but it's gone more of a green tone. So I can explain how to get around that. If you do get a mix and it goes a bit wrong, you want to use the complementary opposite of the colour wheel to tone it down. So that would be green and red are complementary opposites. So you'd want a bit of your red in there to help tone down the colour. Interestingly, it's also what hairdressers do if they want to neutralise hair. And I know this fact because my shop in Church Lane was next door to a hairdresser's, and they used to bring their new staff in to chat to me about colour mixing and complementary colours, because it was basically the same thing. So if you've got hair that's gone green, they'll use more of a red colour to neutralise it, or if it's gone bluey colour, they'll use an orange colour to neutralise it, or a yellow on a purple, or if you've got bright blonde hair, they'll use purple to dull your hair down for low lights. Well, yeah, it is more of a rust, I suppose you could call it. More of a rust. Let's see what the other camera makes it look like, because the colour's changed. There you go, look, it's a bit like the colour of my hair. Yeah, the colours are totally different. And the angle looks a bit weird anyway. Well, it is a bit of a weird one, because it won't look like a hedgehog until it's got the hair and the spikes and things. So it's all, as always, it's that weird time. I'm gonna let this dry. and then we'll work on the eyes and nose, and that should take us up to coffee break, and then will be lots of fiddly layers of the furry and the spiky kind, and then we'll be shoving some leaves and grass in the foreground. So I will, what I'll do is I'll position camera 2 over the eyes. Oh, that's why it looked a bit weird. Bum 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 bum. Ba-da. That might be dry enough for me to paint. I'm going to paint his eyes black. I'm going to use a thin brush with some fairly dilute black. I'm not going to worry about his eyelids just yet. This is just his eye. I can imagine you, Louise, doing a really lovely one of this, by the way. I've just had a vision. I mean, of course, I can imagine you all doing a lovely one of this, but right, I'm going to paint the nose. Oh, not you, Nick. I'm trying to get you back from yesterday when you told me you're just going to stay being a pupil until we both have to retire. I've never wished for a visual impairment so quickly in my life. I am going to have to go to the opticians though, to be fair, because I can't see. I think they are. But I do need to go to the dentist because I broke a tooth, if you remember, in lockdown, and I still haven't plucked up the courage to go and get it sorted. No, I'm just too scared to go in, to be honest. I'm not in any pain, so I'm just putting it off, which is wrong, I know, but I'm just... I know. You don't have to tell me. I have to reason with myself every day. Jackie's the same. I'm the lump her into it as well because she's got a broken tooth that happened in lockdown. I'm not going on my own. I'm not make her do it as well. Yeah. I'm just mixing up. I used to do that all the time. I'm just doing a bit of a neater eyelid. I should have waited for it to dry really, if I had a little bit of white to that one. That's that sort of orangey rust colour with a little bit of white. Do you know, I think I need to just tweak that eye a little bit here. I think that's... Nick a bit of that. I'll put that in there. I think that's about right. Now I mixed on the palette. I had the sort of orangey colour there that I just added a little bit of white to it, but I'm now thinking it's too much white, but nothing I can do now. What's done is done. No, that's fine. I mean, I'm fortunate that there was quite a bit of paint left over, and because it's now hurtling towards, or well, we are in autumn now, aren't we, officially and meteorologically, because it's the solstice today, and that's why it's dark and it's not even 20 to 8, quarter to 8 yet. Pitch black outside if you've not looked. I'm thankful that I'm still at the stage where I'm coming to work in the daylight, because it'll soon be time where that will change. Good. Aliens are fine at this stage. Right, so while the eyes are drying, because we can't do any light in the eye, I'm going to work on the nose, the actual black bit of the nose. So I'm going to go with a bit of black and a little bit of white, maybe a bit more white. I'm going to do it dotty. So those of you that are doing the hair masterclass on Saturday, it's just going to be a lot of relaxing painting of hair strands, which will be quite therapeutic actually, you know. Yeah, I'm using the thin brush for this, just because it gives me a little bit more control. Oh, the hair painting. Yeah, we're using lots of little thin brushes on Saturday. Yeah, it is. It's getting lighter. You can see how it's a dark grey on the plate look, but then when I put it over onto the hedgehog's nose, it lightens. I need to put some black back in that again. I don't want a lot of light in. I think I need to put some of the dark back in. I think I've put too much light on it. It is very shiny there. It is. I'll see what that looks like. I do want to just put a blob of white highlight in the eye. And my usual little trick, if I dilute a bit of that white, I can just paint an under highlight. It's a bit white. Let's tone that down with a bit of a damp brush. Oh yeah, that'll do. It's amazing, just a little speckle of white makes such a difference to the human, well, not human, but you know what I mean, lifelike quality. tell you, I'm loving the new iOS 14 update. However, it makes the battery run out. I've had to charge my phone 4 times today, and I've not even been using it. Yeah, the new update. Occasionally it happens with iPhone updates. They end up being too powerful for the phones to cope with, and then you get a follow update that stops the battery usage from being used. Because there are some, I said in last night's class about the usefulness of the sound alerts, but yeah, never mind. There are worse things in the world, aren't there? So I don't think I'm going to do much more with his eyes, you know. I might just outline his eyelids in a slightly darker brown. And maybe just do a few darker brown little brush strokes on the black bit of his nose, just so I've got a bit of coloration and texture there, and on that little, almost like the widow's peak kind of thing on his top of his head. Oh, my hair bypassed that bit. It just went away altogether. Well, it's not looking like a hedgehog yet, but it's looking like a creature of some description. So we'll go with that. So we've got painstaking hair to paint next. But we'll, I think, No, it is hard, but I think we've got to make the paint really, really runny for it to work. The spikes, the spines don't have to be. It's this, but thankfully with a hedgehog it is quite coarse, isn't it? So I'd normally do the spikes first, but I think it'll be useful to do the face first, because that'll give us a bit more confidence to move on. So I reckon as it's coming up to 5-2, we'll get our cuppers now, and then we can lunge straight back into that again in about 2 or 3 minutes time, and get straight on with the first. So I'm going to go pop the kettle on. What have you done? Have you been body painting, Sandra? It's not that kind of class. Right, I'm putting the kettle on. Back him in. done it again. I've done that noise again. I don't even need to do that noise. I'm back. Is Nick back now? Not yet. Are you back, Sandra? Am I even on it? Yes. Everybody's disappeared. Are you there, Facebook? Right, so we'll make a start on the rest. Good, I'm glad you're here, Christine. I forget my kettle's super fast boil, you see. So I'm already done. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nick's not back yet either. Oh, he looks after you, Pete. Yes, wonderful. All of you lot with your slaves. Like my own. Hello. Right, so what I'm going to do is mix a bit of yellow ochre and burnt sienna and white with the sort of riggery brush. It makes sort of a biscuity taupe colour. But I'm going to make it really, really, really runny. And twist the brush in it. I mean, you might find another detail brush will work better. Depends how you can get the point. Yep, quite a lot of white in there, and I need to move that out the way so I can I'd normally flick upwards, but I'm flicking downwards for a minute because I think I can create a thinner line flicking downwards. No, because I'm only doing his face. His face first, spines later. Yeah. See, I'm having to go against my own normal advice of flick up for fur and hair, and the reason is that I put too much pressure on my brush by flicking up. You go heavy up, but if I'm working Weirdly, no idea why. Don't even think there's anything scientific to this. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's pressure related. Um, you know, because as I'm coming down the hair, I'm sort of adding a bit more pressure, so it does look a bit thicker at the base, perhaps. I don't know. Little hedgehog. Fairly short for this bit, but then longer as it gets up his cheeks and down his sort of belly area. So the snout bit is short. No, you've almost got to make it just like coloured water. Oh yeah, that was I can't remember what that one was. But there are brushes. I found this one out and I don't know when we ordered these in. This is called a liner brush and it's a 10-0 by System 3 and I might get some more in. So you can see the difference there between thicknesses of line. No, you might need to go even thinner. You see, as it starts to, it feels a bit clumpy on my brush. I'm having to add more. It's a bit like, you know, calligraphy when we use dip pens. It's really hard because you just as you get the ink the right thickness, you run out, don't you? And then your first dip in is always thicker and clumpier, and it just doesn't look as good. But yeah, I mean, if it goes more transparent, it doesn't matter because we've already got colour underneath, haven't we? So um, you might just find that you have to go with another layer over the top, even paler, you know, with more white. Um, Possibly. He's not looking like an hedgehog. He's still looking like some weird badger. Oh, well, there's plenty on here, and then you'll get the hang of it for Saturday's class. Instead of 4 hours, you'll do it in 2. Nick, if you're at work, how are you going to come and get your stuff? Do you want me to drop it off? Okay. Yeah, you have. Because it's all the detail brushes and not even that very many colours, to be honest, because it's all creams and beiges and blacks and browns. Bit of crimson perhaps, but that's about it. See, I might, depending on time, put another layer on that is, like I just said to you, Sandra, that's got a bit more white in your brush. It's alright, most acrylics are non-toxic. They just don't taste nice. Yeah, apart from what I put in your jars, yeah. He's got wise. No, as if I tried to poison you all on purpose. I wouldn't do that because I'd be £5 a lesson short. All you all just mean money to me, that's all it is. You're just numbers and pound signs. Yeah. Oh, I'm gone a bit mad. I'm almost giving him a perm here. I am doing his body, but that's slightly off camera, but you can kind of get the gist actually, I suppose, of what it looks like, but just longer. I think I am going to add a bit more white to the colour to give myself a slightly lighter layer. And I'm going to do that now. I wasn't going to, but I'd rather do it now and show you how it's done rather than wait for you to have to do it at home or something. So if I add a bit more white to the colour and be more restricted. Well, I'm doing a bit of both. I'm going up and down and up, round and about, wheeling and a dealing, ducking and a diving. But what I'm trying to do with this slightly lighter colour is create new hair, fur. Well, there's no need to be like that. He is prickly. But I've never held one. I don't know if they're as prickly. I don't think they're as prickly as they look. Oh, that's true. Oh, didn't you have one in your garden, Nick? Didn't you post a photo of one? Because Louise had got them playing football, haven't you, Louise? Now I've got this paler colour, look. It's standing out. I've done the whole of his lower body. All of the cream furry bits. I'll move the camera out in a sec so you can have a look. That's alright. It's just that I like to be one step ahead of you all. Have you got any of the miniature painting brushes, Sandra? Yeah, no, that's fine. Because that's what we'll be using. It's hard. I was saying, I can't remember who I was talking to in the class this afternoon, another day gone, about branches and things. Because with acrylics, unlike watercolour or gouache, you almost need a thinner brush than the line you want to create because acrylics are thicker. So if you've got sort of a size 1 brush with acrylics, you'll end up with a size 2 line, if you know what I mean. So you want to make sure that your brush lines or your brushes are an extra size thinner with gouache and stuff, it doesn't really seem to do that because it's not as heavy. But with acrylics and oils, your brush strokes are a lot thicker. But I mean, it does come with practice, though. I can't just say that it doesn't work, because clearly I'm getting thin lines, but it's my job to be amazing, better than all of you. But a lot of you give them a run for my money at the moment. Blimey, some of the work you're posting is fantastic. Yeah, just a little bit more white. So it's still within that sort of biscuit, taupe, buff, mushroom. It's more buff now, I suppose. Like the buff folders that you have at school. Do you still have those buff folders? They're sort of like envelope folders that fit A4 document wallets in, but they used to come in. They used to have like when I was a kid, I remember they had like the outline of like children in stickmen form, and they were in green, dark red, dark blue, and buff. And that's what used to have your name on. To store all your books in your special little drawer. Oh, it's made me nostalgic. I might have to see if I can buy some online. Oh, I like the paper one. That's the fine line, isn't it? Is it plastic so it can be reused, or paper so it's eco? Do they last? Are they like the tough files? Because you can get those ones that have got sort of like a ribbing in interwoven, can't you? I think they're called tough files, aren't they? Something. Right, I'm not doing any more, and he looks a little bit hedgehog-ish, I suppose. Let me move that out so you can see camera one. Oh yeah, it's looking alright. Oh, that's nice, Nick. You've got a much better face than me. You know, I've made my nose too fat. I've made it like me. Right, so I can't be doing without. Let me do something better. I need to thin the nose area out. Well, I'm really going in with some slightly darker brown black mix just to bring it out a little bit more, because after seeing your amazing piece, Nick, I'm having to change it a little. To sort of cut back in the cheek area and the nose. I wish you lot wouldn't be good, because it puts pressure on me to actually do my job properly. I'd like to just like, yeah, but your shape's much better. Shall I ask Sarah that? And what will her answer be? Yeah. Right there. That is better with a thinner nose. I think I'll have to just put... I'm faffing and it's 20 past 8. Not the time for faffing, Barry. Faffing time has passed. I don't think I've made his eyes round enough either. He's squinting a little bit, like he's trying to read the menu in McDonald's. Hang on. The spine spikes are almost exactly the same colour, if you notice. I'm going to make them a little bit more brown. Let me switch to camera 2. Move it up slightly just so you can see what I'm going to do. And then I'll add a bit more brown in that mixture. And that, you see, doesn't have to be as delicate because it is just a point. But what I will say, I think I need to make it a little bit lighter than that. Yeah, drink your tea. It's been 20 odd minutes ago. I think I've made it too dark now. Stupid man. Yeah, I'm going to use the rigger brush, but it's not got to be as delicately pointy. And I will say, start from the back. And work in. So I'm literally just going to go a little bit darker. So I'm actually going to use this to go all the way. Is that in focus? Yes. Do you know, I think I still need more white on it. Yeah, but my background isn't as dark as I thought it was, so I'm going to have to go a little bit lighter. So it's just the tip of your brush, and we're going to go all the way around. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, each line. Go over some of these again. Because by working from the back forward, you see, what it will do is it means that it will feel like there are spines in front of others, hopefully, but they don't all have to be in the same direction. They have to be roughly in the same direction, but you've got some that are facing downwards, some that are going upwards. But you need to leave the dark in there as well. So you've got a bit of a mixture. Try a round brush instead, because you'll probably get a better point with a round brush rather than a rigger. Yeah, no, it's the same. It's the same sort of colour. I made it a little bit lighter for around the edge of the hedgehog. The hedgehog. But I've gone back to the same sort of colour as it was for the main furry bits. And then it will just be doing a bit of grass and leaves. Hopefully take us to 9 o'clock. I am glad I made the decision to keep the classroom closed, because everything's just so up in the air. You know, who knows, one week I'd be saying come in, another week I'd be saying don't come in. I worked out with a metre ruling, I could get 1, 2, 3, 4, I could get 5 of you in, but you'd all have to wear masks really. And it's a bit unfair to expect people to wear masks for 2 hours, 3 hours. Yeah. No. Maybe it would make you all quieter. No, I really don't think it would. Unless I could sew Gobstoppers sweets into them. That's true. Yeah, I couldn't be coping with crunching and slurping during my lessons. No, thank you. It's hard to be random though, isn't it? It is hard. It's because they've got, each one's got a muscle on it, hasn't it? I think. Yeah, because the porcupine can like shoot them, can't they? Oh, poor little thing. Because apparently wombats, they attack their predators with their bottom. What they do is that if they're being threatened, they run away and they get chased. And then as they as the predator gets nearer, the wombat just stops dead in its tracks, and it's got a really, really heavy, muscular, meaty bum, and the predator runs into the back of it and breaks the neck. So yeah, wombats. Because I had a fact book a long time ago when I was in education, and it's actually called "How to Avoid a Wombat's Bum," and it's lots of interesting and runs. Never chased me. But it kind of works like that, because you do it in the car, don't you? If you get people that are too close to you, you put your brakes on and it makes them have to realise that they're too close. Yeah. You know, I'd love to see brake lights. Do you remember like the old volume control or the music visualizers on hi-fi players and stuff? I'd love brake lights to increase the amount of brightness or level of colour depending on how hard the brakes press. Don't you think that would be cool? So if you just touch your brakes, your brake lights go up 1 or 2 bars, and a bit heavier 3 or 4 bars, and if you slam them on, it goes straight up to 6 bars. So the car in front, the car behind, has an indication of how slow or fast the car is going ahead. Yeah, it's how you're supposed to drive. Through your gears. Yeah, that's it. The trouble is you've got to show your brakes just to let the car behind know that you're actually slowing down, even if you've done it properly. Well, I think a lot of people, when they're driving, they forget though, because they're in their own little bubble with their own little music and world, and they forget they're driving a lot of the time and in charge of a fast moving vehicle. Yeah, it is. See, this is labour intensive, but well worth it. I didn't ask that as a question, if you notice. I said it as a statement. Exactly. But this, imagine doing this in watercolours, because we'd have to do it in reverse. We'd have to put this pale buff colour down, and then we'd be adding the dark bits all through, which is I think, much more of a. I think it is. I think it is a harder thing to do. But starting from the back, working forwards does help as well. Gives a better sort of hint of realism with it. But I do want to get at least 20 minutes, if possible, for the foreground. But it is only a bit of grass and a couple of leaves, so. I squeezed out far too much paint. I don't know what I thought I was painting this afternoon. A badger, life-size badger. What, did you drop your brush, or did it come off the ferrule? We were talking about that this afternoon. How the most frustrating thing, I think, in painting in a water-based medium is where you clean your brush, but then you don't necessarily check for water droplets on the ferrule, and then it just blobs. It slides down and blobs, and ruins things. I do think that is frustrating. even paler right round the edge of the hedgehog again, because it seems to, it's still not standing out as much as I'd like, so just the odd creamy one. Thing is with Hedgehog, it's very easy to make them stylized, isn't it, and more illustrative. Depends if you're trying to go illustrative or photographic, isn't it? I never try photographic. I'm not a massive fan of photographic because well, I think if it's photographic, once somebody's looked at it and said, wow, that looks like a photograph, it then may as well be a photograph because they can't see anything else in the picture, you know, because it looks too real, other than the appreciation of the skill. Whereas if a painting is a painting, hopefully people will start to see more interesting things within that painting. We'll have a look in a sec if you've posted. I know you do get to that point, don't you, where you just do go into the monotony of all of the brush strokes and dab dab do dab do. Yeah, a few lighter areas. No, I'm the same. It shouldn't, because it will just stay fairly diluted. If it's in a moist, cool air atmosphere, it shouldn't clog the drains up. You see what I do? That's why I work on a either a solid palette that I can peel it all off when it goes hard and pop it in the bin, or a paper plate so I can put it straight in the bin as well. So the only wateriness is the paint water. Yeah, but I mean, I use the paper plate several times. If I'm at home, I'll use it several times, and just keep putting the blobs on. Right, let me switch out so you can see. Oh, look, it's looking like a painting, like a proper person has done it, not just me. So I can work on the foreground next. I think finger painting is good. That's nice, Nick, that. Yours looks very wise. Can you not say incredulous things while I'm trying to take a drink of coffee? I nearly choked. Right. so time to do a bit of grass and leaves. I think 20 to 9, can you believe it? Where has the time gone? Well, we know where it's gone. We've been painting, I suppose. But I'm really pleased with the hedgehog. It's amazing though when you think about it, where it just started as that really dull black brown mess. I mean, it still is more of a mess, but it's got thinner fur on the top. But it works. It lifts it out. Now I am aware that I haven't put any highlights on. There's a little bit on that arm that I'm just going to finger paint on. You can see this sort of skin and muscly bits there. So I'm going to use the same colour, but because I'm smudging it with my finger, it'll be okay. Right. Oh dear, I've just gone too smudgy. He's got an orange leg now. Right, so leaves, I'm going to go with a brighter green, I think. So ultramarine, lemon yellow. No, I've got lots of ultramarine. I haven't got much lemon yellow. I'm going to add a bit of white as well. I had a friend who lived in my street that couldn't say yellow. He said yayo. Yayo. He had he couldn't say L's or R's. They were always Y's. So I was called Bayi. Sort of more minty, shall we say. But then I will squeeze a bit more lemon out for the grass. I don't want all the leaves to look the same colour though, although technically they're all going to be off a similar tree, aren't they? I suppose, if you think about it. But that white just lifts them a little. And I'll probably put a bit of white. But I am going to have to squeeze. I thought I could get away without too much yellow, but sadly it's not to be. I'm going to put a bit of brown, maybe a bit of brown in that to change it. So how's it going, Christine? I know, Louise, you're not painting tonight. Maybe you're still watching. Maybe you've nodded off. Somebody said my voice is very soothing. Soothing or boring, I'm not sure. As long as you're enjoying yourself, it doesn't really matter. It's like I was once told I had an interesting face. She married me, but I never could work out if interesting was good or not. Because if something has an interesting taste, to me it doesn't necessarily have a nice taste. It's just, interesting. I've added a bit of brown and it just helps to do sort of spots on the leaves or veins, because I do want to do grasses and stuff. Maybe a bit of Benzene ultramarine for some shadow underneath the leaves to bring them out a little. A bit of finger painting is always required. I love finger painting, I think it's really cool. Brown and blue. Ultramarine. So if you do ultramarine and burnt sienna, it's a really good, a bluey burnt sienna. It works quite nicely because you can go really dark with it if you need to. Or it's a good one for tinting greens and things, because if you use more blue in it, you see, the blue's already present in the green, so it works. I might. Oh, were you? It's good that they're doing art still. I was worried that a lot of the creative subjects would get shelved. Yeah. Right, so if I then flit, I want to keep it fairly loose, just because of time. But if I do some darker green grass with the rigger brush that's sort of to the side level with the hedgehog, and maybe that you can sort of see under his legs, and helps give a bit of scale. So this is ultramarine with a bit of lemon, so it's quite dark, very loose, fluid. Nice and runny. I think brush control is a really interesting learning point with it, with acrylics particularly, because it really varies depending on exactly what you want to create. You know, with some things you need a lot of water, with some things you need no water, more so than in watercolour, I think, you know. I might go with a bit of brown and white just to do some stalks on leaves, stems, stalks, things. And then I need to squeeze a bit more yellow out. Maybe there's a bit of a browny leaf just sort of on the edge there. I'm on the edge of glory. You done, Nick? Okay. More blue. It's a very bluey green. For the background grass, and then I'm going to be doing sort of very lemony, more lemony grass for the foreground. Although technically I should put some darker grass in the foreground a little bit. I'm not going to need much more paint than that. you know, like I said in the most of you went in the Monday class, but the Monday class was all about foregrounds in acrylics. But in general, because everyone always gets stuck with a foreground because you just don't know what to do with it because there's a lot of it, and it's sort of, how can I make it something? Because generally the foregrounds are always just incidental, aren't they? They're there to set a scene. Like in this, the foreground helps identify that we're in sort of a grassy area, but it doesn't necessarily matter unless you're going to paint a few gnomes or something. I don't think any gnomes would be riding a hedgehog to work, would they? Yeah, but it's a massive... Yeah, well, I don't know. What if you break sharply? You'd have to, like, put cork on it or something. Lots of tiny corks. Right, so you can see by just putting the darker blue-green grass in places, we've created texture in the foreground, and then I'll be making a slightly lighter tenty, so we're doing well for time. When you do grass, it's really important to get everything to go in different directions. It's so tempting to have it all same length, same height. When it isn't like that at all. And what I will do is I'm going to go with a lot more lemon and a little bit of white. And the reason why I'm adding the white is just to make the yellow stand out more, not make it too pale. But because yellow is technically more of a transparent colour in acrylics, unless you're spending £20 a tube. Doesn't seem much point in having it. Tuesday today, I'm almost ready for the weekend again. That's unlike me. Feels like I've done a week's work this week already. See, if I was going to really fiddle, this would be a lovely thing for some fly agaric toadstool or a bit of one in the edge. But what I think could happen if I did a bit of a red toadstool or something, it could possibly end up dominating the picture rather than aiding the picture, which is, you know, sometimes it's a fine balance to decide what to add into a scene that would help create the scene and give it atmosphere and not take away from what is the focal point of the picture. So with stuff like this, you can do branches and twigs and things because it's needed. something that's a little bit more specialised, like a fly agaric toadstool, even though I love them. You're not liking the grass? Okay. Don't like it, yeah. Oh, he's got whiskers, hasn't he? But I might put his whiskers on in pen, you know. Maybe put a bit of a branch on if I mix a bit of brown with the darker green. There's only a few black ones on our right hand side. Yeah. So you could do it with a pen. I can't see them. They almost seem to be white on the left and black on the right. I mean, I'm sure that can't be the case, but that's how it looks in the photograph. What I'm going to do in a sec is see if I can show you a close-up of the reference image. There you go. Look, you can kind of just about make out a really thin bit of black. I think I've got the brown bits, you know, the really dark bits that looks like badger stripes. I think I need just to plop in a few little bits of fur just here and there, so it looks less like badger stripes. It's easy to get carried away, isn't it? I mean, it potentially is something that you could just keep adding to and changing and thinking, oh, now do I want that lighter there? Do I want that darker there? Let it dry, go on and do a bit more. You could almost never be fully finished with him or her. yeah, I'm not doing any more now. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm fairly pleased with that. There's one line that is too dark though, too pale, that I need to thin down. It's standing out a lot on that screen. Oh, just arrived. Love it. That's nice, that, Nick. You should be pleased. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to do any more. I'm not going to do any more on mine. I always say that, and then I pick my brush up, don't I, and then do a few extra lines. But well, it hasn't not worked out. It's just you just haven't got as much detail in there now because you haven't put the grass on. But it doesn't make it any less of a picture. But it is. Foregrounds are hard, to be honest. Oh, that's lovely, Sandra. Yeah, well done. Brilliant. Right, so 9 o'clock next. Oh, now there's no lessons on a Tuesday night for the next couple of weeks. For the next 6 weeks until 20th of April. No, hang on, I'm on the wrong part. Hang on a minute. I'm in the wrong book. I'm next year. There's nothing until there's nothing throughout the whole of October. So there's nothing until the 10th of November on a Tuesday night because I'm supposed to be in Byfield. If that gets cancelled, I will let you know, and I can do some Tuesday evening classes instead. But yeah, so there's no classes next week until the 10th of November on a Tuesday evening, so do remember that. Yes, I will. I'll have to remind myself. I'll just be stopping here until late at night. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Whether the latest announcements are going to make any difference to the group there, whether they want to meet or not. Still, I don't know. So we'll wait and see. So thank you so much for your company. It's been wonderful as always to spend an evening doing creative fun things. So thank you so much, and I'm sure I'll see you online in some form over the next week, and definitely Saturday for the class. And I'll post this picture as soon as I wind down and get ready. So thank you very much. See you later. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.